It's make or break time here on Patriots Today by Chat Sports. That's right, I'm going to be breaking down some cut candidates that I think won't be on the Patriots roster heading into training camp towards the end of July. This comes right after a mandatory minicamp because I saw some players who seemed to look pretty good in OTAs. Saw some growth, saw some technical things that I could definitely live with, but then minicamp rolls around and they pretty much turn invisible. So I want to talk about some cut candidates that I think would fit the Patriots, not only cap savings, but also just moving forward with the depth chart into the regular season. But before we get into those 5 cut candidates, I do want to set a record here on Patriots Today by Chat Sports. As you guys know, I took this channel over about a month ago now. I handle the Celtics Today channel here, and now the Patriots, so I am Boston Barefoot, if you will. Can we get 20 new subscribers on this Patriots video alone? If you guys like what you see, if you're excited for the NFL regular season, go on ahead, hit that sub button for me, and I have analytics. I can see who's subscribing and who's not. So I want to see if we can get 20 new subscribers here on this video alone. All right, let's go ahead and break down our 5 cut candidates. I got to start it off here with Bailey Zappe. I know this one's not really going to break anybody's walls here, but Zappe, I think, has had enough time to show the Patriots what he can do. And from what I've seen in OTAs and minicamp, I just don't think there's anything more that Bailey Zappe can provide for the New England Patriots. But what we do know is that Jerod Mayo wants to keep 4 quarterbacks for the rest of the offseason into training camp, and he does believe there is going to be enough reps to go around to make sure that Brissett, May, Zappe, and Milton get enough to showcase their talent. But like I said, we know Zappe came in for Mac Jones, who just couldn't get the job done, but Bailey Zappe couldn't really get the job done either. So yes, you want to keep 4 quarterbacks around, which I do agree with because I do think this is going to help really narrow down who that quarterback 3 is going to be pretty much. You're either going to cut one of these quarterbacks and then put number 3 on the practice squad, which I do think is going to be Milton. I think he has a lot more to offer right now than Bailey Zappe does, other than experience. But that'll come with time, obviously, because Bailey Zappe, he dropped pretty quick from QB2 to QB3, which was kind of expected once you took a top 3 pick in the NFL draft like Drake May. But now that he's competing with Milton for QB3, it just makes me wonder, is there anything else he has up his sleeve that the Patriots might not have seen that can maybe extend him over this Joe Milton guy? Because from my perspective, I feel like I've seen everything from Bailey Zappe, and I just don't think he is the guy to get the job done. Would he be a good practice squad quarterback? Absolutely, because there is a chance, and we've seen it before in other NFL teams, that QB1 goes down, QB2 goes down, and yes, Bailey Zappe would be the next man up, and he would be a good one. But I think Joe Milton, if you took him in the draft, you obviously saw something in him. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's really attaching well with these rookies and these veterans. I think Joe Milton could beat out Bailey Zappe for QB3. My next cut candidate, unfortunately, is going to be Tyquan Thornton. I think there are several wide receivers now. The Patriots do not want to end up where they were last year with pretty much a lone receiver in Pop Douglas. So Tyquan Thornton, I just don't think is pushing the needle for himself in minicamp and OTAs this offseason. He struggled in minicamp day 1. You saw some bad routes. You saw some drops. He just wasn't really connecting with Drake May and Jacoby Brissett the way that a wide receiver should if he's trying to make the roster. And then he didn't attend day 3 of minicamp, so you kind of cut yourself short there. Because if you're not going to pop off in day 1 and don't show up for day 3, then day 1's all they have to evaluate you. But thankfully, they have seen Thornton already before in the Patriots uniform. Here's what he did last year. 13 receptions, 23 targets, 91 yards, and 0 touchdowns. Only 9 games, but you see what I mean? Not really pushing the needle here for the Patriots last season, and now not really sticking out his neck so far in the offseason. Evan Lazar also pointed this out here on June 6th a while ago, saying the 12 wide receivers currently on the Patriots' 90-man roster. You got JuJu Smith-Schuster, who could possibly also be a cut candidate. Kendrick Bourne, DeMario Douglas, Jalen Polk. You got Javon Baker, KJ Osborn, Jalen Reagor, Tyquan Thornton, Kayshon Boutte, Kawaan Baker, David Wallis, and JaQuae Jackson. These are so many wide receivers now that if that little name in there, Tyquan Thornton, is not going to somehow separate himself from the other 11, it's going to end in a cut. It has to. Because you can't have 12 wide receivers on your 53-man roster. What do you guys think? Do you think Tyquan Thornton will be able to beat out a couple of these wide receivers to make wide receiver 5, possibly wide receiver 6, but I really think that we're looking at the top 5 here. That's actually going to be pretty influential for the New England Patriots coming up. Type Y for yes, type in for no. And also, I have a question for you guys. Do you want live watch parties this season for your New England Patriots? Well, my bosses and I haven't talked about it yet, what our Sundays are going to look like towards the regular season. But if we get enough subscribers on this video, I can maybe say, hey, looks like some Patriots fans out there want to go live with us on Sunday, because I've been told that our watch parties on Celtics Today are the second best place to watch those ball games behind TD Garden. So maybe the bosses will let me go live a little bit on Sunday. All you guys got to do to help me out is subscribe. Coming in at number 3, it's going to be Trysten Hill, who's going to be my next cut candidate. Of course, is a defensive tackle. This one's a little bit tough because he did get injured in minicamp. This is what Zach Cox had to say during day 3 of mandatory minicamp. He said, defensive tackle Trysten Hill is getting checked out by head trainer Jim Whalen, which looks something like his hand or wrist related. There was a report out there that maybe Jacoby Brissett had stepped on his hand while he was down on the ground. But Trysten Hill was kind of already on the bubble. And then once you get injured in minicamp, it just doesn't make a good resource for you, because if you're fighting for a spot, that injury is not going to help, because you're going to look at you as one thing, injured. And that's where it's going to get a lot tougher for somebody like Trysten Hill, who already is kind of on the brink of not making this depth chart here, because you can see you got Keion White, you got Devon Godchild, you got Christian Barmore, and then you already got all of these 2s and 3s sitting behind your starting nose tackle and your defensive end and your defensive tackle. Then you see at the very bottom there where it says also Trysten Hill. I think he was kind of already in the chopping block. Then he gets injured in minicamp. I would highly doubt we see Hill going into training camp. This is going to be a little bit controversial, I understand. Mitchell Wilcox, we haven't been able to see Mitchell Wilcox just yet in a New England Patriots uniform. Of course, we picked him up in free agency about a month ago from the Cincinnati Bengals, but here's why I think Wilcox will not be on this roster moving forward, is because I think Jaheim Bell is going to beat out Wilcox. Yes, I know he was drafted round 6 recently in the 2024 NFL draft, but the tight ends is going to be a pretty competitive storyline that a lot of people are going to let go under the radar here, because they're looking for tight end number 3. And the reason why I do think that Bell would kind of outplay Wilcox here is because of this number right here. You cut Wilcox, you save yourself $1 million. That's a little bit different there from that rookie contract that you did just give with Jaheim Bell. But it's kind of interesting because the Patriots don't really need to focus on cap space right now. They've got more than enough. But I also do think from what I've seen from Bell, he's kind of given me that he's a little bit younger. He's got a little bit more to offer. And when you look at this tight end depth chart here, the only thing that I do notice in difference between Wilcox and Bell is that Wilcox is about 6'4", 247 pounds. So you're going to get more of a blocker out of somebody like Wilcox, where Bell is 2 inches shorter, 6'2", but weighs about the same, 241 pounds. But Bell is going to be more of a dump-off kind of tight end, can maybe push to get you that first down when you need it. So it's going to be a battle all offseason long. And when you look at what Wilcox did for the Bengals last season, this is the stat that I love the most. 17 games played. This man played a full season, but he wasn't really Joe Burrow or their backups target quite fairly that often. He got 12 targets, 9 receptions, 56 yards with 0 touchdowns. Obviously, the tight end was not utilized here, which makes me think, he's not a tier 1 tight end here. So why not allow a rookie to kind of showcase what he has moving into training camp and still fight for that tight end number 3 spot? But don't be surprised if you do actually see Mitchell Wilcox coming in here and taking that tight end 3 spot as well, because obviously he's got the experience. He's got a little bit more height to him as well. It depends on what you're looking at. So if you guys want Wilcox, type MW. If you want Bell, type JB. My last cut candidate heading into training camp towards the end of July after minicamp is going to be Kevin Harris the running back. The running back situation has been pretty interesting here because you've got somebody like Hasty that's coming in, and he's really making a splash here with the new running back coach. You also picked up Antonio Gibson from the Washington Commanders, which does give you a little bit more depth there behind Ramondre Stevenson. But Taylor Embry, of course, the new running back coach here for the Patriots, likes the third down type of running backs. He wants that player that is going to transition from third down to first down, which is exactly what Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson are. Then when you go into that depth chart, maybe not so much when it comes to Kevin Harris. Not only does he like third down running backs, but he likes running backs that can do it all. He likes the jet sweeps, the wheel routes, those kind of running backs that can immediately use their legs and turn it into their hands and pick up that first down if they have to catch the ball. That doesn't scream Kevin Harris to me. It just doesn't. And when Embry had to say what Kevin Harris has done so far in this offseason, it's not bad. And that's the good news here. He's not necessarily a loser on my winner or loser chart here because he noticed he's gotten sharper in the pass game. So he's still fighting for a spot there to make it in with those running back core. But it does sound like that Taylor Embry kind of likes more of Hasty because you can see more of JaMychal has a little bit better hands here than Kevin Harris does. You know, Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson are already those third down backs that he's going to have at 1 and 2. So now where that number 3 is going to come in, that's where I don't know if Kevin Harris is going to be the guy. But with that being said, I gave you my 5 cut candidates after mandatory minicamp. Name your Patriots cut candidates after mandatory minicamp. And as always, if you guys have not already, hit that sub button for me. Like I said, if you want to go live later this fall, I got to let my bosses know. And that's how you can do it, by hitting that sub button for me right now.